Welcome back, besties. If you're new to this channel, I'm Lexi, and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you've already read the title of this video, then you know what's up. Also, if you've been watching my channel for any length of time recently, you also know what's up. I recently decided to break up with my boyfriend of 7 years. We did live together when I dumped him, and that part of moving out and separating our lives has been kind of traumatic for me. I decided, let's just put my trauma out there for the world to see. In this video, I'm just gonna be reading a bunch of romance books until I can feel the love again. My approach to this is to read different genres of romance because I have not been in my romance era lately. I recently more so have been reading fantasy novels. I read a bunch of Brandon Sanderson novels. I read a bunch of fantasy YA novels. You can check out those videos if you're interested in that. First book I'm deciding to pick up is Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. This is a special edition of this book that I got a while back. I believe that this is monster romance. At least that's kind of what I'm getting by the cover of this book. But if I'm being completely honest, I have no idea what this book is about. The tags on Goodreads says that it's romance, it's erotica, it's paranormal. We're gonna try to give this a chance. I don't know if I'm gonna be bothered by this. I know that Ice Planet Barbarians is a hugely popular series, but I've never picked it up before. I don't know what it's about, so I'm excited to give this one a try, and I'm gonna start with this book. Then the next book I'm gonna pick up, and this video is gonna really live or die by this book, is Sick Fuck by Tilly Cole. Now, I know this author is a bit controversial. A friend recommended it to me and she said she loved this book. It is dark romance, which is why I'm saying this video is gonna live or die by that, because a lot of dark romance that I've read have been a little sketch. It's been, a little bit weird. Looking at You, Born Darkly. What I know about this book is that we have two people who were really close as children, but some traumatic events separated them, and then now they're coming back together and rekindling that relationship. I guess what happened to them as children is the dramatic part of it and the trauma part of being a dark romance book. So I'm excited to pick this up. The next genre I want to pick up for this video is contemporary romance, and I found 3 books here that might be interesting. So I have The 7-Year Slip, You Again, and Flawless by Elsie Silver. Now, I don't know which one I want to pick up for my contemporary romance genre. I know that The 7-Year Slip is kind of contemporary romance with a bit of magical realism. You Again is based on these friends that have been friends for a while and are just finding out their love for each other or their feelings for each other. And then Flawless, this is a cowboy romance, and this is a hugely popular book. So I'm not sure if I will read just one or if I'll read 2, or if I'll read all of them. I don't know. We're just gonna see where this video takes me. I'm excited to get started with this challenge, and we'll see if reading all these romance books will help me to feel love again, because I am one bitter bitch. I just want to say that this breakup has been actually a really good thing. I'm not sad about it at all. I am actually relieved to have gotten rid of this trash man that was in my life. Let's get started with reading Ice Planet Barbarians. I'm curious to how this is gonna go, and I will update you guys along the way. I just started Ice Planet Barbarians, and I didn't realize that the copy I bought is signed, and it says right here that this is copy 1,756 out of 5,000 produced for this version. I did not know that. I didn't know I had such a nice copy of this book that's signed. Just wanted to hop in and say that, but I'm excited to get started with this book. Okay guys, I have finished reading Ice Planet Barbarians, and I have some thoughts. So this book is surrounding these women who were kidnapped off of Earth and are being taken to a planet by these little green men to be sold off as slaves. On the way there, they have some spaceship problems, and then they have to dump the cargo, meaning the humans, on this ice planet. So once the humans are there, they're like, we need food, we need shelter, we gotta survive. They send our main character, Georgie, off to kind of figure out how they can get what they need to live. Georgie wanders off and she falls into a hunting trap, and that hunting trap belongs to our main guy, Vectal, where he then takes her to a cave. The men on this planet have this thing within them. I think I'm pronouncing it wrong. It's called the cooey. When they see someone that they can mate with, they hum or they purr, and that becomes their mate for life. This book is surrounding Georgie and Vectal's relationship kind of, but also the fight for survival for humans on this planet. It might be surprising to hear that I'm giving this book 4 stars. It was a silly, goofy time, to be honest. Is this the best thing I've ever read? No. Is this the best writing that I've ever read? No. But it was just a silly, goofy time, and I could get down with that. Also, I think most people, when they go into this book, they're thinking it's going to be a lot of spice. It's actually not that spicy. I think there were like 5 scenes in here with sexiness happening. I would put this pretty low on the grade of spiciness. I mean, honestly, Sea of Ruin, which I read last year, that was crazy high. That book is pure porn. This one is more so of like a silly goofy time with some sex scenes thrown in there. Our main character, Georgie, she's kind of basic, but Vectal, I would say he is kind of a sweetheart. It's not a 5-star book because I couldn't get into, you know, the whole alien mating thing that's going on. Our main character, Vectal, he is a blue guy with horns and a tail, and every time there was a sex scene coming on, I was like, you know, it would be better if he didn't have that tail swishing around. There were some explicit description of Mr. Vectal's manhood, which makes me, the way that that's described makes me think that is this a megaverse? Like, there's not like a bite mark for him to like claim Georgie as a mate, but like the way that they were describing his junk in the trunk, it made me think that, hey, this might be a megaverse. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. It's definitely a monster romance. Vectal, he's very polite. This book is about consent. He's not going to do anything to her without her consent, especially for like the other girls in the book that are finding someone to like mate with. They're all consenting people. So like none of this monster romancy stuff is being forced, which is like nice. And I also read in the back of the book the author's like acknowledgments saying that she removed a scene where there was SA because it displeased people. She was like, you know what, people didn't like it, I'm gonna get rid of it, it's fine. I would recommend it. Like if you're looking for a silly goofy time with some spiciness, some very light spiciness, I would recommend it. The story is also told in dual POV, so we get to hear Georgie's inner thoughts and we get to hear Vectal's inner thoughts. And I think that the book benefits from that. Again, the only thing that I didn't like about this book is that it was alien romance, and I'm not into big blue dudes with a tail. Georgie was making some dumbass decisions, but you know what? I'm a forgive for it. You're on an ice planet. You don't know what's going on. You don't know the layout of the world. And that's why you need Vectal there to help you out. Because they're different species, Georgie's like, oh my god, I don't think we can get pregnant. So yeah, let's get it on. But no, it turns out that she actually can get pregnant and have Vectal's baby. Like the guy's main motive for wanting to like mate with her is because he wanted a little baby. And you guys know that I'm not into kids. So if there was no baby talk in this book, I probably would have given it 5 stars, to be honest. It was just the baby aspect of like all these alien dudes wanting to mate with the females because they want to like procreate, they want to have a kid. Can't we just have a book with just pure spiciness without bringing children into it? That is the reason why this is getting 4 stars and not 5 stars. I would say this book didn't entirely bring the love back into my heart, but it helped a lot. I mean, it was silly goofy time. I enjoyed it, and I'm ready to move on to the next book. The next book that I'm gonna pick up is Sick Fuck by Tilly Cole. Now, I know that this author is problematic, and I have heard that the story is very problematic, very dark, very graphic. I think this vlog is going to live or die by what happens in this book and my thoughts about it. It's very short. I think it's like a little over 200 pages. I mean, Ice Planet Barbarians is also a little over 200 pages. It's just a bit longer because at the end of this book, they have a novella. It's Ice Planet Honeymoon, I think it is, but I didn't read that one. I could save that for a different time. But this book is a little over 200 pages. I think I'm gonna be able to fly through this today. But I'll let you guys know how this goes, and I'll catch up with you later. Guys, I am halfway through Sick Fuck, and what do I say about it? I'm really struggling with this one, is what I want to say. We start off meeting Heathen and Elias. Heathen has a weird obsession with death from a young age, and then we have Alice, who has an obsession with Alice in Wonderland. What we find out is that they're both being raised on this estate, and Alice's mom has passed away for some time now. Heathen is without parents. Alice's dad becomes the guardian over Heathen since he has no parents. And something really horrific happens to them as children that really sets the tone for the rest of the book. It's very dark and disturbing. I'll leave it at that right now. I don't want to get into exactly what happened to them as kids because I'm still kind of thinking about it. I would DNF this book if I wasn't doing it for this video. It feels like Tilly Cole wrote this book just for the shock value of it. There's nothing that I'm getting out of this other than Tilly Cole wanted to write a super disturbing dark romance book. I really want a DNF, but I don't want a DNF because I'm doing this for the video and I don't think I've DNF'd a book for a vlog since I started YouTube, so it's like, why start now? I'm just really struggling with this one, and I knew that this vlog was going to live or die by my thoughts about this book. It's a good thing that it's not very long. It's 270 pages, and I'm halfway through. I think I might read like another maybe 50 or so pages before I decide to go to bed tonight, but I do plan on finishing it tomorrow, and I'll give you guys an update then. I actually finished it last night, but I wanted to kind of sleep on it and marinate on what my thoughts would be for this book. Right off the bat, I'm going to say that this book is going to be 1 star. 0 stars if I could, honestly. This book does not need to exist. Tilly Cole wrote this simply for shock value. There is nothing to be gained out of reading this book. Something really awful happened to them as kids on this estate. He is then sent away for 11 years. Once he breaks out and gets back to Ellis, he goes on a murdering rampage to all the people that did this one thing to them while they were kids. I don't think that anyone should read this book. It is banned on Amazon for a reason. I knew Tilly Cole was kind of a controversial author, but I have read books that have been banned before and they were fine. And I've read dark romance books before where there was SA in it, but then I ended up loving that book. Still Beating is one that comes to mind where there is kidnapping and SA in that book, but I love that book because the bad things happen in the front and then the rest of the story is about our main characters coming together to find their love and recover from that. But this book was bad thing after bad thing after bad thing. Tilly Cole uses Alice in Wonderland as a tool for these characters to go on a murdering rampage. I don't think I'll ever look at Alice in Wonderland the same, and if I have to hear the words rabbit or Dolly Darling ever again, it's gonna be too soon. If you want to read this book, and I'm telling you, don't read this book, there are trigger warnings for SA, for murder, for violence. Everyone in this book could have benefited with going to some therapy. Not that that would have fixed anything. I think Tilly Cole is just set on writing a book with just some seriously fucked up stuff in it. Needless to say, this did not bring the love back into my heart. If anything, it's closed me off even more because I'm just like, people are weird, people are fucked up, I don't want to read this. This is actually awful. I probably will never read a book by her ever again. Honestly, after I finished it, it kind of made me depressed a little bit, and that's not the goal of this video. The goal of this video is to bring the love back into my heart. And Tilly Cole, like, what is this? Like, what the fuck is this? I'm done with this book. I don't even want to look at it anymore. I kind of like want to sell this copy. This is a really nice copy, but I don't want it. Now we're done with that. So the next book I'm gonna pick up is something a lot lighter. I'm gonna pick up You Again. I think that this might be what I need right now. I need something cute. I need something funny. I also have the audiobook for this one, so I'll be listening to it on audio. And hopefully that this is the book that brings the love back in my heart. Otherwise, we're just gonna have to keep going. I mean, I've got plenty of romance books to hold me over, but like at this point, I am still dead inside. Like I feel nothing. The audiobook is 11 hours, so I think I could either finish it today. If not today, I'll finish it tomorrow. And then I'll check with you guys how I'm doing with the reading of this book. Oh my gosh, you guys. I am halfway through reading You Again by Kate Goldbeck, and I love it. It's so good. It's so good. So the premise of the story is that we have our main character Ari and Josh, and they keep meeting each other over the span of 8 years accidentally, where they first start off and they don't really like each other. She is a comedian and he is a chef. They first meet through a mutual acquaintance, and they're both in kind of relationships at the time. Josh has a girlfriend and Ari is more of a friends with benefits casual sex kind of person. Ari actually ends up getting married to this woman, and Josh has been in a long distance relationship for quite some time. But when they meet up again 8 years later, they're both at their lowest point in their life where they have just been broken up with. She's going through a divorce. They're both struggling in their careers. The first 70 or 80-ish pages in this book is them meeting accidentally over the span of 7 to 8 years. And once they are at their lowest point in their lives, they kind of strike up a friendship where they're just there to help each other through the lows of being broken up with or divorced. I just got to the middle part where Josh invites her to a gala. His dad was a very well-known person in New York City. He ran a deli shop and they're honoring him at this gala. So he decides to invite her as his date. And over their span of their friendships, they kind of start to develop a little bit of feelings for each other. At this gala, they decide to kind of just sneak away before the countdown to midnight. It's New Year's Eve. And they end up kissing. It was so cute. It was kind of hot, actually. They both feel like fully developed real people. Like Josh and Ari could be like people that I meet out on the street. Ari is more of a messy character where Josh he's a struggling chef, but he has gotten pretty much his life together. He opened up a restaurant that failed and he's trying to recover from that and being broken up with. And she's just always been a struggling comedian. But the part where they kiss was just so cute. I'm excited to see what happens in the rest of this. I'm halfway through. I sped through the first part of this in the beginning of the day. I know I initially was only going to read 3 books for this video, but I think I just want to keep the good times going. I'm having such a good time with it that I might actually pick up another book on my shelf. We'll see. I'll check up with you guys tomorrow once I finish this book to give you guys my final thoughts on this. If it looks like I'm overtired and my eyes are red and puffy, it's because I've been crying for the past hour. My manager at the job that I'm currently at, she did something so vile to me today that I cannot even express how evil and vile this woman is. Made me call my therapist. I'm like, lady, I need you on the phone because I'm not doing so hot. And then I took the rest of the day off for my mental health because if I had stayed on that computer, I would have done something mean. I would have said something dirty. I would have acted a mess. So needless to say, I'm not having a great day. Oh, and the other thing that happened to me, guys. So yesterday, the check engine light went off on my car and I was like, oh no, this either must be something really huge or this could be something really small. I don't know. So I took it in at 7:30 in the morning at the ass crack of dawn to the dealership, and it is now 4 p.m. here and they still don't know what's wrong with it. They're like, we had to keep your car here because I'm out tomorrow and I won't be back until Monday, so there's nothing that we can do. Good thing that I don't really drive my car a lot and I don't have any place to go this weekend because I'm stuck in this apartment when I should be at my own house. Anyway, that is not what we're here to talk about. We are here to talk about You Again. I finished it last night and I have to say, besties, it's a 5-star read. I love this book. Our main characters, Ari and Joss, they feel like real people. I feel like this author is so good at creating characters. Like, these could be people that I met randomly at a bar, at a party, what have you. And let me tell you, when they kiss for the first time in this book, it is like fireworks going off in the backgrounds. And then when they do it, they get it on for the first time. One of the best sex scenes that I have ever read. You could really feel that it was written coming from a place of love for these characters and these characters loving each other, instead of where most romance authors are like, let me write the spiciest scene that has ever been spicied in the world. And like, sometimes, yeah, I do want to read spice, but sometimes I just want to read about two people who genuinely fall in love with each other. I typically don't like characters that are messy like Ari is, but I could kind of like see where she's coming from. I too was a girl that once was only about the casual sex, but this is a 5-star read. The author just managed to seamlessly transition from Ari's point of view to Josh's point of view. The third act miscommunication that happens mostly in romance novels, I could see that being a real thing. Like, normally in romance novels, I'm like, get it together. Like, you can't be acting like this. But this, I could see where Ari was coming from with her miscommunication, or like the ways that she was feeling, where she had to like dip. I could kind of see where she was coming from. And then I could also see Josh and his perspective of how like he slowly fell in love with Ari. The only tiny little thing I didn't like about this book was the small part of the ending. I'll go into it a little bit, but just know that it's A bit of a spoiler. So basically at the end, we have Arya and Josh, and they end up in this sex shop, and she proposes to him. Like she was like, yeah, I want to make you my forever. You're my person. And Josh is like, I don't need it to be made legal for me to know that I love you and I want to be with you forever. The thing about marriage and me, marriage gives me the ick. Like if I'm ever telling people that I want to marry a man, it's a cry for help. Because for me personally, I just don't believe that you need marriage to fulfill you, or you don't need it to be legal on paper for you to know like you want to be with one person for the rest of your life. You can love a person without bringing the law into it, you know? We don't need to make things legal like that. And I'm also just like a very self-sufficient woman that I don't want to rely on a man like that to make me feel like I need marriage. No kids were brought up in this book, which is a good thing. Because if a kid was mentioned once in this book, it probably would have gotten 4 stars. I overlooked the whole marriage thing at the very end, and I'm giving it 5 stars because it was just, honestly, it was a teeny tiny part of the book. It was probably like maybe less than 5 pages. That's why I decided, let's overlook it, let's pretend it's not there, and give this book 5 stars. This vlog was gonna end at 3 books, but because my manager did that vile ass thing to me this morning, that I decided let's keep going. Like You Again was so good that I want to keep going and reading more romance novels. So I just needed a reason to. I decided to pick up Flawless by Miss Elsie Silver. I know that this book is crazy popular on YouTube. I think Katie Coulson did a video where she watched a shit ton of videos. This book kept popping up on most YouTubers' favorites of 2023 list, which is why I wanted to pick it up, because I was like, well, I need to see what the girlies are reading. What are we reading here? Why is it so good? On the back, it says that we have Rhett Eaton, and he's a professional bull rider. He's the golden boy until he acted a mess after a public brawl, and now his agent said he has to clean up his image, and so now he is, I guess, looking after his agent's daughter. I'm gonna assume the agent's daughter is a full-grown woman and not a child. This makes me kind of nervous because when I think of cowboys, when I think of bull riding, I think of Texas and I think of conservatives. I am not the conservative kind of lady. I need to read something that's gonna put me in a happy mood and just take me out of this place that I'm living in. Let me forget about my manager, let me forget about my car problems, and just read this and feel good about myself. Let's get started and see what we think about this book. I have finished Flawless by Elsie Silver. This book is mainly about 2 people. The first is Rhett, and he's a bull rider, and he grew up on a farm. And then we have Summer, who is an agent at this like sports athlete company. Her dad is Rhett's sports agent, and Rhett does something that gets himself into trouble with his sponsors at the very beginning of this book. So in order to rehab his image, Summer's dad assigns her to be Rhett's babysitter, so to speak, for the next couple of months so that he doesn't get himself in trouble before the bull riding championship. And in that time, they fall in love with each other. The first 50% of this book I was not vibing with exactly, and I do have notes. My first issue is that right off the bat, they seem to already have caught the feels for each other, but like don't want to admit it. I think this book is supposed to be sold as like enemies to lovers, and that's not what it is at all. Like they initially meet in a boardroom meeting, and once he sees her, he's immediate like, ooh, that's a good looking lady. Like he's attracted to her and she is attracted to him, like primarily because of their physical good looks. And that carries throughout the rest of the book, is that their primary attraction to each other starts with their physical looks. And then something else that Rhett does throughout the first 50% of this book is that he keeps looking at her like sexually. Like he says this one line on page 75 where he's like, my dick twitches when she spoke. And I'm like, all she did was like look at you and talk, and then all of a sudden you got a hard on? Sir, no. At the very beginning of this book, she was very much coming across as like not like the other girls, and she was at multiple times described as like being very petite, small, and being so like muscular and a bull rider and so fit. There was a couple things like at the very beginning that kind of like irritated me. One of them being that they're at this hotel room and he orders fast food and he like saves the last chicken wing for her, and she's like, oh, so sweet, he saved the last chicken wing for me. It's like, girl, he's doing the bare minimum in that situation. And the other thing that's happening is that because he's a bull rider and he's kind of like older, I think he's in his 30s, he's getting injured a lot. So because of him getting injured a lot, he has not been taking care of himself because he wants to continue to ride. So she's like, oh, I'm gonna make all these appointments for you, I'm gonna get you to see a therapist, I'm gonna get a massage, blah blah blah. And I'm like, girl, he is a grown-ass man, he could do that himself. But what kind of turned it around for me is like right when I hit the 50% mark of this book, their relationship started to make a lot more sense of like why they're attracted to each other. Like he is attracted to her because she's like very caring and understanding that like he wants to ride and he's not gonna give that up. So she's just like seeing what she can do in order to make it more comfortable for him to ride. And then she also falls in love with like his family, and he falls in love with her for her personality. There's a couple of things that surrounding like Summer and her relationship with her dad, her sisters, her family that are revealed that makes it make more sense as to why that they would like each other. Once they got together at the 50% mark and there was some kissing and there was some spiciness, I got into it. I started to really like this book, and immediately when I finished reading the book, I was like, I need more. I need more of this in my life. I immediately wanted to pick up the second book when I finished this one, and so with that being said, I actually did go and buy the rest of the series. I bought all 4 books in one day. Did I go to 2 different Targets to get the other 3 books in the series? Yes. Don't judge me. Don't you dare judge me. Hi, editing Lexi here to say that I realized that there's actually 5 books in the Chestnut Spring series, and so I'm missing the last book, which I think is hopeless. So we're just gonna go to Target right now to get that book. So let's go. Guys, the goods have been secured. Time to go back home. Please ignore that mess. And we're back. Now I have all 5 copies. We can resume to the rest of the video. And I actually want to pick up Heartless pretty soon. Heartless is the second one in the series. I don't know where the rest falls in the series order, but I'm excited to read the rest of this, and I do feel like I'm back in my romance era. Like You Again and Flawless, they really did it for me. If I'm itching for a romance, I will be picking up one of these books. Flawless definitely opened up my heart again. And just to recap everything that happened in this vlog, I started reading Ice Planet Barbarians. That is a 4-star book. It was more silly goofy, and that's fine. It did, you know, warm up my heart a little bit. And then after that, I read Sick Fucks, and that closed my heart right up. That book should not have been written. It doesn't deserve to exist on this planet. I understand why it is a banned book on Amazon, and I don't recommend anybody read that. And that was a 1-star book. That's actually my first 1-star book that I've had all year. Then I read You Again, which was a 5-star book. That book was so good. The people in that book felt like real people, and that love story spanned around 8 years, and it made sense. Like, it made sense why they would fall in love with each other. They're imperfect people. I just love that book so much. And then finally I read Flawless by Elsie Silver, and that one's gonna be a 4-star. I don't think I mentioned that before, but it's a 4-star book only because the first 50% I was feeling very iffy on. If it wasn't for that first 50% being kind of like meh, I probably would have been a 5-star book, which makes me excited to pick up the rest of the book in that series. I'm hoping that Elsie Silver has gotten over the growing pains of writing the first book in this series, and so maybe the rest of them are gonna be like 5 stars. I'm hoping that it will be, but that is it. That's all that I have for you guys. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment below. Please subscribe. You can also follow me on Goodreads and Instagram. That link is below for you. And thank you, and have a nice day.